Schmitt Tonight. Biden and Trump both at the border today in very different locations. Biden in Brownsville near the Gulf. Another manipulated photo op visit. After cleaning up El Paso for his first border trip, emptying out a migrant camp for Mayorkas' visit, the administration today visiting an area that's reported only 46 migrant encounters over the last 5 days. The reason Brownsville is so much quieter is the work of Greg Abbott, the governor, to subvert the intentional destruction of the Biden administration. And of course, this is then where Biden goes to sell his progress, a place that he tried to destroy, but the state of Texas wouldn't let him. And then he goes there to brag about how good he's doing at securing the border. Biden demanding Trump and Republicans join him as he attempts to save his own presidency here in the 11th hour.
We need to do more. It's time to step up. It's time to step up. Provide them with significantly more personnel and capability. Let's remember who we work for God's sake. We work for the American people. Let me end with this. I understand my predecessor's in Eagle Pass today. So here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. Instead of playing politics with this issue, instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me, or I'll join you in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill. We can do it together. You know and I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country has ever seen.
I mean, now he wants to be bipartisan. Now he wants to fix the border and he wants to work together. The question is, are the American people really going to let this man get away with this? The gaslight being delivered by this White House on immigration is second to none. It is the worst of politics. It's everything you hate about Washington. They dropped a nuclear bomb on the border and sat back with the popcorn for 3 years as their own CBP and border agents did the soul-sucking work of trying to control a border while being sabotaged by their bosses every single day. That's the truth. 3 years later, the chaos intentionally inflicted on this country is now a political liability. Oh, a Monmouth poll has immigration as a top issue in November and Biden at 26%. I said it last night. You have to try really hard to get 26% as an approval on anything. And suddenly, what do we see? Joe Biden wandering around aimlessly in the bushes of South Texas, using note cards to ask questions to an enforcement and removal officer today during a casual meet and greet. This wasn't a press conference. He's talking to a border agent using note cards to have a conversation with somebody. That's the president of the United States, or so they tell us. Can't even think of one question to ask this guy. By comparison, a real president was 300 miles to the north and west in Eagle Pass. Trump in a sector that's seen 2,000 encounters in the last 5 days. The juxtaposition was incredible today when you put them side by side. Trump surrounded by Greg Abbott, Brandon Judd, and a legit border squad. He actually looked like the president of the United States today. Joe Biden looked like a silver alert. In a Daily Mail op-ed, Trump reminding Americans that his border trip was actually planned first. Trump was going there initially, and the president of the United States panicked, ran behind him, and followed him to the southern border. Who's really leading the country, you might ask? Trump goes first, then Biden scurries along after. Writing, the abolition of America's borders is Joe Biden's policy. The mass migration of millions of illegal aliens into the United States is Joe Biden's plan. This is Joe Biden's invasion. It's exactly right. Don't let them try to fool you. They're not trying to fix anything. Here was Trump today in Eagle Pass.
This is a Joe Biden invasion. This is a Biden invasion over the past 3 years. It's allowing thousands and thousands of people to come in from China, Iran, Yemen, the Congo, Syria, and a lot of other nations. Many nations are not very friendly to us. He's transported the entire columns of fighting-aged men, and they're all at a certain age, and you look at them and say, they look like warriors to me. We're the safest border in the history of our country, and now outside of this area where Texas has done an amazing job, and in a pretty short period of time, they're going to have it all covered. They have just been incredible. The operation that they showed me is nothing less than incredible. And I'll say this, it's a military operation.
After Trump spoke, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who really has been doing fantastic work in his own right to try and salvage this border when it's really the job of the federal government. Abbott gave the reality check to those who were about to hear Joe Biden speak just a few minutes later, reminding everybody the administration has gutted the border and is suing anybody who tries to fix it for the past 3 years.
Biden not only is not building any borders, Biden is using every tool that he can to tear down the borders that Texas is putting up in our state. And because what Biden is doing has endangered our country, as President Trump was telling you the stories, not a week goes by without an American either losing their life, being raped or assaulted by somebody that Biden has allowed in our country illegally.
We cannot let these arsonists get away with what they've done to this country for the last 3 years. Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas have been given some kind of mandate, it appears, by the people who really are in control of this country. And part of that mandate is the destruction of the sovereignty of this country. Joe Biden's been in Washington a long time. He was never an open border zealot. He certainly wasn't 10, 15 years ago. What changed? They're delivering a major blow for the globalist agenda. This is a big blow to sovereignty and to freedom. It's all part of some kind of plan. It's some kind of plan. And this fake media tour to fix what they've done is just a guise to stay in power. That's it. They just need to get that approval on this issue up enough so that they can figure out a way to win in November. These people have an insidious agenda. We often give Trump credit for putting China on the map for American voters, something that Washington never really wanted to warn you about, something that nobody really was worried about. We're all much more wary of the China threat after the Trump presidency. And remember, it was Trump that put the southern border on the map for most voters as well. Recall that immigration was not near the issue that it is today when Trump came down that escalator 9 years ago. His speech was shocking. Nobody had ever heard a politician talk this way.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. Thank you. It's true. And these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Nobody had ever heard anything like that. The media went nuts. You remember how it was. It was 9 years ago. And now 9 years later, with several tragedies in just 1 week and 10,000 people a day some days coming across the border, crimes we've seen this week committed by people that have no right to be in this country. We're just importing problems that we don't need. We have enough crime. We have enough despair and enough chaos in this country already. Why would you need to bring more in? And Trump, with his offensive rhetoric that they get so angry about, what do the people really think? Well, he's now in a prime position to win this next election with immigration as a top issue.